Queenie, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Queenie Unfiltered, where you are sure to be read for filth. However, I promise you will come out clean and pristine. We keep it real, we are honest with ourselves, and most importantly, we practice being beautifully balanced inside and out. Tonight, we're going to discuss all things kink. And no, I am not talking about the hair on the back of your head, all right? We're going to define kinky. So what is kinky? Kinkiness is the use of non-conventional sexual practices, concepts, or fantasies. Basically, it's a colloquial term for non-normative sexual behavior. I find that a lot of people think they're kinky, right? Some people might enjoy biting or spanking or let's say exhibitionism, right? As a woman who has sex almost exclusively with males, I find a lot of times guys ask, that little question, are you a freak? And their idea of freakiness kind of is very basic on the kinky scale, right? Basically, a lot of people aren't as kinky as what they claim to be or what they think they are. A really fun fact is that kink preferences, I apologize, often break down along party lines. Studies show that liberals tend to be more drawn to BDSM, which is bondage, domination or discipline, sadism, and masochism, right? While conservatives, so check your Trump supporting friends, conservatives are more likely to be into taboo breaking activities like age and incest play. Nasty, however, that makes a lot of motherfucking sense because y'all know I'm from Kansas. I done took that drive from New Orleans to Kansas a few times, and when I get up and around, northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, they definitely give me brother cousin vibes, if you feel what I'm saying. They definitely kissing cousins up and around them parts, and that's definitely Trump headquarters. So that makes sense. So I'm side-eyeing you motherfuckers, okay? I really am. I'm side-eyeing. I don't kink shame, but I'm side-eyeing you motherfuckers. Did y'all know, this is also another fun fact, in some states, in a lot of states, marrying your cousin is not considered incest. That also makes sense because those states are red. Mm-hmm. But anyway, moving on. Getting into some of the more common or typical fantasies. We've kind of broke down scenarios that appealed to 50% or more of the population who deemed certain kinks were common, right? And then 84% of the population kind of deemed that these kinks were more typical, right? So the study showed that sex in an unusual place was very high amongst women who believe that's a kink. So 82% of women, and actually 82% of men as well, believe that sex in a public place is a kink. All right. When we talk about public places, we're talking about office, movies, toilets, right? What else? Parking lots, things like that. And alarming 84, almost 85% of men think having sex with two women is also a kink. Maybe I'm just uber nasty. However, I feel like that's pretty normal. And at least 37% 37% of women actually agree with me. That's pretty typical, right? 82% of men also believe that watching two women have sex is kinky. This is very telling about the male species and why a lot of women go without orgasms. Not that I'm judging you guys. However, a lot of what y'all think is kinky ain't really that damn kinky. That's kind of normal, okay? Kind of normal. 72% of men believe that having sex with a stranger is a kink. And almost 50% of women think that having sex with a stranger is a kink. That's fascinating. I would say having sex with a stranger is a one night stand. However, again, I might just be ooberty dooberty nasty. I think my mama's watching this, so mama, turn it off. Turn it off. You don't need to know I'm business. All right. 53% of men think being dominated sexually is a kink. And 65% of women think being dominated sexually is a kink. That was a very, very interesting, interesting ratio to me. Very, very interesting. I am definitely a dominant energy sexually. I have never considered that to be a kink. I thought that just was 46% of men think being tied up is a kink. So role play. I mean, not role play. I'm sorry, bondage, rope play. And 52% of women think being tied up sexually is a kink. I think that makes more sense. Women are hesitant to be tied up, like that. 64% of men think anal sex is a kink. 64% of men think anal sex is a kink. Now, I am of the belief that majority of the time that anal is exit only. I wouldn't call that a kink. I would not call that a kink. Now, y'all feel free to check me in these comments, right? Feel free to check me in these comments, but I don't think, let me know if you think anal sex is a kink. Just weigh in. Let me know if you think that anal sex is a kink. Because I promise you, this is regular shit to me. This is vanilla. This blew my mind. I'm like, who are you people interviewing? You got to be interviewing fucking Mormon missionaries in fucking Utah or something. Who the fuck are y'all talking to? This shit is normal. 32% of women think anal sex is a kink. That means that somewhere along the lines of 60-something% of women who know that, they just get down like that. It is what it is, 75% of men think having sex with more than 3 women is a kink. Oh, poor baby. Them the men that's not getting threesomes. Them is the men that couldn't talk a woman out of her damn shoes, let alone her drawers. What? Y'all never had an orgy in college? Not saying that I had an orgy in college. I am not copying to that. However, I don't think that that's a kink. 25% of women believe that that's a kink because women, we be knowing shit like this, right? Watching someone undress without them knowing. 63% of men think that's a kink. I would definitely say that being a voyeur, is that the word? Voyeurism? That's definitely, to me, that's definitely on the kink list, right? I don't know. That's watching someone undress without them knowing. I think that definitely goes along the lines of non-conforming, right? And 32% of women believe that watching someone undress without them knowing is a kink. And lastly, having sex with more than 3 people, including men and women, 56% of women believe that's a kink, and 16% of men believe that's a kink. I definitely think that orgies and group sex are kink. I do. Well, and when I say orgies and group sex, I mean anything over 3, maybe 4 people. Right? Maybe 4. Because I say 4 because you can have 2 couples. They can be swapping. That's pretty regular. That's pretty normal. And again, don't you motherfuckers sit up there and goddamn judge me because I have fun. Well, I had fun. I'm calming now. But I don't really think couple swapping is so much a kink as it is, just a sexual proclivity. But definitely I think once you hit over 4 and there's some extra bodies to kind of be placed around, I definitely think that you're getting into kink territory, right? The following are a list of sexual fantasies that maybe didn't quite make the cut of being common, but they weren't rare enough to be considered unusual, right? That's things like being photographed or filmed while having sex. I think 44% of men think that that's a kink, and 32% of women. And I think that there's something to that, right? A little exhibitionism. A little exhibitionism never hurt nobody. Keep things a little spicy. Being ejaculated on by a partner. 29% of men think that's a kink. And 41% of women. I really am side-eyeing those 41% of women. I am. Now, maybe, and just maybe it's a kink because they get off on it. That might be the reason why it's a kink. But I think if you're a woman, and you deal with males, is a very high chance you've gotten skeeted in your eye or something like that, right? That shit ain't fun. That shit ain't a kink. That ain't no turn on. That shit salty. That shit burn. Okay? I don't think there's anything kinky about getting skated on, but I could just be wrong. 57% of men think that having sex with someone much younger, and I'm just going to assume much younger means 18 and older, but much younger than now, is a kink. Fascinating. Fascinating indeed. Nasty, but fascinating. And then 18% of women. So women are not as likely to be cougars, right, as men are. Spanking or whipping someone to obtain sexual pleasure. 43% of men think that's a kink. 24% of women think that's a kink. I definitely would say that spanking is one of those kinks. I definitely would agree with that. And being spanked or whipped, right? You got 28.5%. 43% of men think spanking someone is a kink, but only 28.5% of men think being spanked is a kink. Talk about double standards and patriarchy. That don't even make no damn sense. But anyway, 36% of women think that being spanked is a kink. I would agree with that. So next up, we go into like, how do you tell your partner that you are into some kinky things? I would definitely say that you do it on a case-by-case basis. There's no easy way to tell someone that you like to be choked, except when you are in the moment and you're just like, hey, choke me, turns me on, but don't kill me, right? And I don't even think it's choking. I don't think people actually like to be choked. I think people like to be asphyxiated. I think I said that word right. That's when the blood flow, not the airflow, the blood flow is being cut off during sexual intercourse. But if you're having issues letting your partner know that you're into some kinky things, some unusual or non-normal things get you off, fill out your partner, right? Just be willing to sit down and have that conversation. I've definitely been in situations where I might have been feeling somebody, might have been feeling a guy, and I wanted to let them know that, hey, there's this I ain't gonna tell y'all what it is. Ain't none of y'all motherfucking business because y'all ain't fucking me. But there's a very specific thing that I like that gets me off. I can't tell everybody that, right? Some motherfuckers just abuse the shit, right? Some people just don't understand. Some people look at you a little different because, like I said, kink is subjective, and a lot of people think they're kinky, and they're really not about that action. You know, a lot of what is, especially if you're like me and you're a complete sexual deviant, a lot of what people think is kink is just really normal, everyday, regular, schmegular activities for people that's about that action, about that life. So definitely talk to your partner about it on a case-by-case basis. If you're really comfortable, the sexual energy is there, this is someone that you can open up to, this is someone that you don't feel would judge you, let them know. You know, there's always preemptive conversations that can be had. You know, just asking people what are some of the sexual activities that they like. You know, I had a guy, oh child, now this motherfucker was nasty. I did have a guy that took me out. He was a pastor. Oh my God. Oh, let me tell you. I had a pastor. This motherfucker took me out on Valentine's Day one year, right? Took me out on Valentine's Day. And he kept feeding me drink after drink after drink. And then finally he asked me, and finally I told him I can't drink anymore. You know, this was lemonade water. I had like 6 cups of water and shit, liquids in front of me. So I can't drink anymore. I gotta use the bathroom. I don't use public restrooms. This man invited me to his house so I can piss on him. That was a very unique way of letting somebody know that you into some kinky shit. Now, I declined that offer because I was 20 and I didn't know no better. But had he caught me at 31, I definitely would have pissed on his ass. I'm just saying. Anyway, we're gonna wrap up with our Check Yourself segment. I just want to leave you with a reminder to create better habits, okay? Start with small adjustments. Be positive. Once you make a decision, commit to your decision. Identify all your triggers and obstacles. Take time to think about what it is that's holding you back. Create a plan to succeed with failure in mind, right? Create a plan to succeed with failure in mind. Get support from your friends and family. Include them in to help you establish accountability, right? Celebrate your small wins. There's nothing wrong with that. Celebrate yourself. Work on your environment. Focus on building a routine. Replace self-judgment with self-compassion. Give yourself some time. And lastly, focus on one good habit at a time. To build a good habit, you definitely need an excellent plan, motivation, and routine. Otherwise, it is near impossible in the real world. When you repeat a habit for a long time, then it automatically becomes a habit. You don't need to put a lot of extra effort into developing good habits. It's just starting the phase that's going to take a lot of attention, okay? So invest time in working around creating your better habits in your life to make the most out of it. Tonight has been great. Thank you for tuning in. Join us next week at 9 p.m. Central, where we'll discuss sacred chakra stimulation. Good night, you all.